closer. We have waited so long.
Huh. This is it, I guess. Feels very different from the last time I left Galawain's tusks. I will say, it's nice to look out and see Solace still standing. Thanks for that. Right. It's better that an Adiran envoy do it.
Solace is still standing. And so are you. We're in this together.
Just so you know, Kai, it's starting to sound like you like me.
If you happen to need a reminder, do let us know. Brooding in silence can be quite the mood killer.
Not to spoil the moment with good news, but I doubt the rest of the island has been quiet while we've been looking for the garden. Things have only gotten more tense since Fior, and the Steel Garrote probably hasn't been doing us any favors on that front.
Especially when they're led by a woman who doesn't seem interested in staying dead. Not to mention, after we take care of the Envoy's little god problem, we'll still have an empire bearing down on us.
Who knew an Archmage could be so relatable?
Can't say I'm too excited about just walking into the garden. Learning I needed to protect that place, but it never felt like more than a children's tale to me.
I hear you. This island is weird enough when all we have to worry about are vengeful plants and soul-altering corruption.
I'm the only one who's looking forward to the garden. We're pioneers, stepping into the great unknown, a land of mystery.
We have to remember to love them in spite of their lack of proper enthusiasm, dearie.
That's the spirit. And funny you should mention it. I have a theory about the garden, or a warning, depending on how you want to look at it. Sapadal has been imprisoned a long time. The garden will be a reflection of their dreams, their nightmares, their madness.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw visions or hallucinations, and not even the fun kind.
Sanity won't get us through the garden. Madness opens the mind to discovery. So madness is what we need right now. Before we go any further, I have to ask you something. You told the Inquisitor that you intend to free Sapadal. Set them loose upon the world. Is that still the plan? You're not the only one. Sapadal is responsible for the spiritual health of the living lands, and the island has suffered for it. No matter what the Inquisitor said, I don't believe there's a right or wrong choice to make here. Just the one you believe in. Good. Who said it has to be? Remember, we're stepping into a realm that is both physical and spiritual in nature. If you can call it nature. There's no telling how long we'll be gone. For all we know, time could run backwards in the garden.
Not a chance. We're a crew now, so you're stuck with me until the end. Marius?
I told you I'd be with you till the end. I don't go back on my promises. What about you, Giada?
You're not going into the garden without me. I have to see this with my own eyes. Yatsli, if you feel like running back to Quilichi, now would be the time. No one would think less of you.
And tell Quilichi that I missed out on the most exciting part.
You're gonna get me going too. We're with you. All the way.
I plan on wandering the garden whether I'm traveling with you or not. I have to find out what the big deal is.
Agreed. I'm not waiting in camp while the rest of you have all the fun. Hope to see you out there, Marius.
Well, let's go then. We can't keep your god waiting. Hi, darling.
Milady?
Next time we fight some beetles,
So, this is it. The spiritual epicenter of the living lands. Where it all began, and where it all ends. For so long I have looked out on a horizon full of possibilities. Now that it's here, I'm too scared to breathe. Why am I so anxious? I suppose you're right. I'm frightened, I'm excited. I'm a lot of things right now. Do you remember when Manto Pastor sent you after the heart of an Adragan? That was nothing compared to this. We are standing in the beating heart of the living lands. Just imagine what we can do with it. Animancers don't ask why. We ask how. My parents were going to build a better world for Animancers. That dream was their legacy to me. You and I have come farther than they did. To an impossible place where anything can happen. Anything. When you say it, I can almost believe it. I don't know what's going to happen, but you've had my back since the beginning. I won't forget it. Who could rest at a time like this?
looks like we'll have to find another way through. I think we've found Sapadal's home.
That's it. The heart of the garden. Sapadal's cage. Cain was here? As in Cain's chaotic ore?
I think this is the only way down. After you. Cannonball! Child's play. That's done.
I see the disciple has found her way into the cell.
No. Clarion Steel. We know this voice. Why is she here?
I'm everywhere my tools have mouths to speak.
Out. Her voice pierces our skin.
Look at this place. A quagmire of your parasite's worst instincts. Can you even begin to grasp the forces that you tamper with? Hell? It has forged the iron of its own restraints. Do you think you're special? With your god's thorn in your side? Do you believe you can hold dominion over chaos itself? When even the collective fury of the real gods could only confine the sniveling creature to this wasteland. Who else would have the strength?
It is true. She twists the knife. The seas run red with memory.
In time, the gods felt the wretched powers seeping through this land. Its madness would consume us all if it was not contained. Chaos is a blight. It must be scourged before it spreads. A pity that its followers could not be reasoned with. The poor godless, worshipping the very thing that subsumed them. We could not excise the rot and spare the roots that nourished it. The crime dictates the punishment. Its mere existence is a threat. It used their souls to mold itself. Starvation was the only way.
Why does our prison not protect us? Help us! Silence her!
Listen to its tantrum. It knows neither order nor sense. Adir is the only thing holding back the tide of entropy. Then they will keep applying the rod until it understands. But there is still time. You can succeed where Ludwig failed. Face your false god and end its reign of terror permanently. Very well. I cannot force a child to bend to my will. But I will not stand by and watch you undo my work. You should have thought more carefully before you broke your oath to the Empire. Let this be a lesson to you.
I never thought I'd learn of the Godless's fate from their killer.
That's it. From now on, I pray to no god. Let's finish this. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Or am I going mad? What is the meaning of this? It can't be real. This is an illusion. A joke. Tell me we're both seeing the same thing. It's not fair. Why am I cursed to see this again? Why does the memory follow me wherever I go? Wanna know what I think? I think someone's laughing at me. Whoever is responsible, I'm tired of the bullshit. Step forward and answer for yourself, coward.
Godlike of Sapadal, long have we awaited you.
Finally, you've come home.
It's not just me, right? The plants are talking.
Oh my gods. They're alive. What do you think you're doing?
Giada Castel, welcome.
Wait, you know me? How do you know me?
For centuries, our whispers filled the silence. Then we heard your mother's call.
My mother? You heard her?
She reached out to us, using the tool you now carry.
But that would have been years ago. The first time she used the phantasmal focus. The only time she used it.
We heard, and Sapadal answered, saying in a great voice, "We are here. You have found us."
But when Sapadal speaks, the living lands trembles. The voice of a god can be a terrible thing.
I don't know what to say. What exactly happened to my parents? Tell me, please. I need to know.
Sapadal wanted to be heard, and in so doing, twisted your family in body and soul, broke them into a more suitable shape.
Sapadal does not know the limits of their strength. Mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made? Do you have any idea what my life has been since your little mistake?
After the incident, your parents were like us, and we took pity, so we helped them move on, as they wanted.
In the end, they thought only of you, their pride, and their love.
That's it. That's really it. The answer I've been searching for all these years. Sapadal destroyed my family. I don't hold you responsible. I don't even know if I hold Sapadal responsible. Your god has the intelligence of a scatterbrained goat, but that isn't their fault. It's simply how they came into being. I know they are. My mother and father would not have wanted this. A good animancer embraces death, and they were the best.
We are companions, toys, diversions. Sapadal fashioned us out of dreams and memories.
I can't believe it never occurred to me. They're animats. Ancient vessels held together with duty and loyalty. Their design is unusual, organic, much like the garden itself. Sapadal's work. All this time, your god has been making imaginary friends, drawing pictures on the walls of their cell. It's almost too sad to imagine. One final question, spirits. What is this? Why are you trying to ruin my life again? Is this your way of haunting me? What is it you want?
Not to be pedantic, but that was 4 questions.
We want to apologize on Sapadal's behalf, and for the part we played in your sorrow.
They want to apologize. I came to the garden for answers, not to offer forgiveness. Shit. This is going to hurt. Sapadal has been trapped here for millennia. Alone. Confused. Screaming into the void for anyone who will listen. When they heard the voice of a stranger, they overreacted. How can I hold that against you? Apology accepted.
Thank you, Chiara. And thank you, Godlike, for bringing her all this way.
The time has come for you to find your patron, as you were meant to.
A garden is whatever you plant in it.
Sapadal wishes to be understood, as all mortals do. Seen, as all mortals are. What you see is the truth, glimpsed through their eyes, and they wish to share it.
Now that you have returned to the garden, Sapadal has everything they need. We will fade, as all things fade. You have already learned more than we could ever teach. We know only growth and stillness, root and flower.
We will return to the soil from which we emerged. In time, you will do the same. Our purpose draws to a close. A long rest is assured. May the living lands receive you with open arms. Farewell.
Goodbye. We need to talk about this, but not here.
Give her space, dearie. Giada will speak more when she's ready.
study it before it kills him.
Protect the envoy!
We forsake! I am worse than rot!
What is that? I know that place, right? Oh no. No. Why is this? They're dead. Like, it just happened. Like I remember.
This is the moment I found you, bundled and crying, while our parents died.
Viate. You're not here. You can't be here.
I am dead, Viate, from the Dream Scourge. We are in the garden. As strange as this seems, it is normal here. I can't be certain of that. I know that I am here, and for a purpose.
I have faced this already. Why force me to do it again? Then for the god's sake, what is it? I am exhausted, Viate. I can't take much more of this.
You know where we are. This is my memory. When everyone died, and I found you back in your tent. How much of this do you remember? I can't tell from your eyes.
We dealt with Razvan. He got what was coming to him.
Good. And when he arrives here, he will have me to deal with. Sapadal wants to understand. They know your envoy very well, but not the people next to them.
I have what I needed. We dealt with Razvan. We avenged our parents' deaths.
Then maybe it was I who needed to speak with my Viate. With a clear mind this time. Even when we were children, you kept me alive, first by needing my protection, and then by being who you turned out to be. When you left Solace, it was like I lost more than my best friend. I lost my need to live.
I know. And I'm not sure I'll ever live that down. I don't think I know how.
You've always done everything you could to survive. It's time for you to learn how to live.
So, what do we do now? What? Worse than Ianku's tragic death?
I can't say I loved that part most.
We've both been through so much. But I can see that it's all behind us now. Just Another thing we've survived, after all this time.
A fine way to put it. More like tolerate, in my case, but... right.
See what I put up with, Envoy? Still wonder why I left Solace?
Get out of here. Hike up your waistline and go talk to a god. They'll be waiting.
Well, it was... good to see you, Viate. Even with all this.
Take care of my little friend, Envoy. He needs you more than he'll say.
That was a close one.
All right?
No one was left to clean up the battlefield. Now it's just a time-forgotten ruin.
Lava will be your sick! You won't get lava. You're sick.
Wait, isn't that Tama's cairn? Oh dear.
This room. It looks just like Tama's. Tama. No. No. I dealt with this. We stood at his memorial together. What is this, Envoy? This is your god's prison, not mine. I can't tell. I can't focus on his face. His features keep blurring, changing. I'm not sure. I know it's him, but I don't recognize him as the Tama I knew. It's like he keeps changing in front of me. Does that make sense? Then why does he look so unfamiliar? I used to remember his face so clearly from that night. His rigid jaw, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners. He was in pain, but trying to hide it. I did. Sounds downright selfish of me when you put it that way. But this Tama's more than that. All his moments at once, joy, sadness, anger, heartbreak, stomachache, everything from the handful of years that I knew him and the decades before we'd met. He's almost a stranger. Yeah, it is. All this time I kept him frozen in his worst moment. When he was suffering and when I failed him. But now that I see him as more, it's like he's free of that. You're right. I am. It's like you said. His memory is no longer a burden. For the longest, I was afraid to let go of this moment, like I'd be letting him go if I did. And now I see I was just holding on to something that was weighing us both down. Me too. I never thought I'd meet someone I respect the way I respected Tama. But you've made some tough calls, and you've kept your head and your heart in the right place. So whatever comes next, I'm with you until the end. Now let's go find this god of yours and end the Dream Scourge. When we reach them, what do you think we'll find? A victim? A villain? True enough. Let's end this. I'll follow your lead, as always.
Just a little spark. A little power goes a long way. Charge it up. Just a little spark.
What, like it's hard? Child.
Charge it up. A little power goes a long way.
Sea office in its heyday, in its full splendor.
I should have brought my sketchbook.
What is happening? As the affliction fester even here, it threatens our heart. We cannot fight this invasion alone. Hurry, your presence relieves us.
I came here to help you do whatever you're supposed to do with your god friend. Instead, I'm here talking to dead people. I've heard about the garden all my life, and I never expected something like that. But thanks to you, I think I was ready for it. I mean, it was blessed bizarre, but I could handle it. I will say, it's not really what I expected when I started tracking you and Kai back in Paradise. No, I was thinking more in terms of hunting for wild game and peeing on Kai to put the fires out. It's been a bit of a ride, Envoy. I feel like it's coming to an end. One way or another. I don't know. Maybe the unexpected isn't so bad after all. I never expected you and I would become friends. Yeah, quick note. If you tell any of the others I said that, I'll poison your drink. Anyway. Pleasant dreams.
Hey, Giada. When you find Sapadal, I hope you tell him how much I love what they've done with this place. And you've got to enjoy it where you can find it. Besides, as divine prisons go, I can imagine much worse. You make it sound like we have a ticking bomb under our feet. And judging from Sapadal's outbursts at Mount Forja and Nakukubel, you're probably not far off. They're a few provocations away from disaster. Aha. I've heard that one before. Usually before a lot of tears, a lot of drinks, and a lot of, I should have known better. Still, you taught me that a person can grow beyond their flaws. Why wouldn't the same be true of a god? I hope you're right, because we are all in trouble if you're wrong. You know, if Sapadal were only a smuggler, assassin, or bandit, I'd be right there with you. But knowing they could end us all with a temper tantrum puts things in perspective. I guess we've all got our limits. And I don't envy you having to deal with the loose cannon of a god. But I envy even less the mess you're going to have when we escape this place. Lucky thing your emperor sent his best representative as his envoy, right? You'll have your work cut out for you. A lot of people aren't going to make that distinction. Especially when your Ambassador Heelguard hosted Ludwig in Paradise for as long as her assistance was convenient. The Steel Garrote leveled fewer. Even if Animancers aren't the most popular bunch, everyone gets nervous when fields burn. And yeah, I know that's on the Steel Garrote, but it's not lost on anyone that your people despise Animancy. Not when Heelguard banned the practice in Paradise. Even if you believe that, no one else will. And that's not all. Ringram may have unleashed some powerful magic against the Dream Scourge, but she left a lot of corpses in her wake. That doesn't look good for your people. Not when Ludwig was also in the region, and your people had a garrison at Eagle's Reach. Try explaining that to people. They won't believe it. Not when they're already convinced there's an invasion on their doorstep. And then there's Solace. You might have saved the keep, but no one's going to talk about the disaster that didn't happen. They're going to talk about why Mount Forja erupted after all this time. I don't think anyone else is going to understand the indirectly. Fairly or not, a lot of blame's going to be laid at Adir's door. And if I had to guess, I don't think Heelguard's been helping matters while you've been out here. If and when we get out of here, we're walking into a powder keg. And you'll have to choose a side. That's the part I don't envy. I admire your principles. But don't underestimate what they could demand of you. Look, I've been there. I fought for Rauatai's interest in the Deadfire for longer than I like to admit. And lost my stomach for it eventually. That's how I wound up here. But I will tell you now, I never could have fought my own brothers and sisters. I hope that's not what it comes down to. But I'll understand if that's a line you can't cross. I don't mean to burden you. It's late, and you've still got a god to face. Just know that whatever you choose, I'll fight alongside you. I'm with you to the end of this. Anytime. Good night, Envoy.
So those green people in the garden, those were...
All this time, I thought my parents died in a freak accident. An experiment gone awry. A mistake. And in a way, they did. But it wasn't their mistake. It was Sapadal's. Generous? Perhaps. Until I knew the whole story, there was never anyone to blame. This whole experience has me considering my family's work in a different light. Look at what my mother accomplished. Armed with her research and her wits, she found a god. When you speak to a god, it's nothing, barely a reflex. But for the rest of us, it's unimaginable. No animancer can live up to that. Certainly not me. I thought their legacy was a curse, and I could only break it by completing their work. I was wrong. I suppose I have been all this time. I just never realized it. One thing is certain. When it comes to animancy, I need to unlearn some of my old assumptions. I wanted to tame the spirit of the living lands. Now, there's so much about it I don't understand, and it's creepy, but wonderful. Perhaps, as long as no one gets in my way. I believe the power flowing out of the garden drove this island mad. That has to end. Through animancy, we could help the living lands recover. It would take a lifetime, maybe more, but that's a small price to pay. Then again, who am I to interfere with an ecosystem that I barely understand? On the other hand, half the fun of animancy is stirring the pot and getting into trouble. I think I know what I want, but there are too many variables to consider. What do you think? Of course you trust me. I'm brilliant. But we've been together long enough that I value your opinion. I have a lot of catching up to do, and plenty of room to grow. But I think you're right. So be it. Starting today, I don't have to live up to anyone's example. Animancy can be whatever I make of it. I knew they would be. And not just because some ancient plans told me so. Now I just have to decide which field of research to pursue. But no need to bore you with the details. I've only got one lifetime as Giada Castel, so I'd better make it count. Hey, you helped me through a very difficult time. I just wanted to say thank you.
You're good with the animancy stuff.
Marius, dear. How you feeling?
A breath held. Trepidation. You are close, yet distant still. Bars were not enough. They writhe. They seek to silence us. Only essence sustains them now. Hatred seated in the heart. We wonder. Deer leaps at its reflection in the lake. You have defied our expectations at every turn. Perhaps we should not have been. The seabed speaks in riddles, a pearl whose shell we cannot grasp. We would run, roll with the tide, sink our fingers into new earth. Whisper in the fields, lift the hills gently in our hands. Disturb the dirt, but spare the blooms. Shake the roots slowly. Vengeance denied, squandered, This cannot be. We spoke of flowers. We speak of freedom when the hand still clasps around our throat. Wake now. Find us.
Lead the way. Eckworth and Roth!
We have been here. We were here all the yesterdays before. A curse. Ancient whispers. Do not let it escape, they said. We feel no spark of the Tibaris Inachus in this place. We cannot see it through their eyes. We slumber here, alone. The eagle's flight, the lion's roar. They took it all away. A tide of souls thrown upon the wheel. The ground gives way. We fall. Now our memory is a wound reopened. They came suddenly. The stillness of night split by grinding steel. We had no time to speculate. First, they blinded us. Shining eyes pierced the concealing dark. Then they burned. Smoke ensnared the moonlight. The Akita screamed. No! We saw a terrible design in the roaring flames. They had carved a path to the temple. We were their true prey. Prune the branch, 3 grow in its place. We persisted, we were everywhere. How could they cull the wind? How could they trap the stars? Then, they turned to what the Akita had made. They toppled the statues. They set the libraries ablaze. They could not kill us. They would curse us to oblivion. The Akita howled. They died. We cried out, sundered soul by soul. We broke the earth, called down the storm, flung lightning from our hands. But they marched on. We grew tired. In fury, we exposed ourselves. Our flailing smothered the cries. Were they theirs? Ours? The needle struck. They raised machines. We tried to tear down the garden's walls. Then, nothing. Not death. Worse. A void. We reached out, but the machines held us in. We could not feel the new day's sun play in the shifting tide. The cities crumbled. We could not save them. We could not save ourselves. Their cries, swords in our heart, a severed limb. We watched helplessly for aeons, until you. A chill wind, our branches shudder. We do not think of this. The wound numbs now. We watch as the river of time expands. In the silence of our prison we find clarity. How many voices lost? How many saplings have we cut down? We sink into the endless night. Perhaps we should be here. The sun shines hot and cold. We are not sure we understand. We have learned to fear ourselves. We handed them the chains. Soil stirs. We have a new memory of this place. You opened the final lock, entered the hidden glade. You listened. You stand at a cliff now. We watch your footsteps carefully. We twine together. We reach for the sky. We grow. We grow. We grow.
Look out! Feel safe! Sur merci! Crack 10! Worth and rock!
I don't think I've ever seen an Eora building like that, but it looks familiar. We can take a look, can't we?
Anyone?
Much as I want to look around, we need to find your god fast. This place feels familiar. Hurry, Let's go inside. This is the library from my dreams. It's real? Look at all these tablets. Actual written records. Oh, somebody pinch me. And there's even some wine to read with. Oh, I wonder who she was. There it smells. It's just like... I've seen this place before. In my dreams. Garlowain's gonads. Envoy? I never told you this, but I've dreamed of this place every night for most of my life. This is a godless library. An actual, real-life godless library. It's why I study the godless, because this place has haunted me since I was a child. And that's the chair. It's the picture of coziness. You do know what it means to lose all your teeth in your dreams, right? Finally, you've arrived. Ah, there it smells. That took 10 years off my life. Wait. You must be the librarian from my dreams. Oh, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. Oh, though, you do look quite familiar.
The resemblance is uncanny.
It has been quite some time. Too many years to number. Of course. You are an ancestor? A very fashionable one at that. No, child. We are the keeper of these tablets. Or have you already forgotten? Oh, of course. I was you in a past life. Oh, I'm such a fool. You lived with animancers, and yet the idea of awakening to your past lives never entered your mind.
Few can bear the mental and spiritual strain of an awakening. As often as not, it leads to madness.
Oh, darling, you know how I get around all the metaphysical talk.
That's why I'm here, remember?
I was the last of the Akida. Once the attacks started, a few of us were charged with preserving as much of our history as we could. So we retreated with as much as we could carry. The attacks? You must mean... the Magfolk attacks. Yes, we've... heard... Is that the reason for the bodies outside? Yes. Your monstrous gods, who bought their divinity with blood and the souls of their faithful. They tried to butcher every last one of us. They did in the end. But they didn't get exactly what they wished for. I made sure of that. But how did the Magfolk reach you in here? They didn't. Between the screams of my kin being slaughtered and the screeching of the Magfolk, I couldn't breathe. That's the screeching I heard in my dream, Envoy. I knew I recognized it when we killed that Magfolk. Once it was gone, there was nothing left. And perversely, I found the quiet worse. So I decided on another way. One that wouldn't give your gods the satisfaction. Poison? Well, at least you washed it down with some good wine. Oh, you're just a barrel of fun, aren't you? Yatsley, you know what you must do now. I abandoned my duty to protect our history, but you... someone must tell the story of the Akida, and there is no one else. I'm already an expert. What more do you want me to do? Oh, think about it, Yatsley. You have been training to be the new protector of this collection since childhood. I couldn't ask for a better successor. But that was your duty. I have my own dreams. Yatsley, If you do not become the new librarian, there will be no other. The stories of the Akita will turn to dust, and my people, our people, will be forgotten. Just as the burned queen wanted all along, when she sent her magfolk to choke the life from us. This is all too much. What do you think, Envoy? Oh, you're no help at all. Please, I ask for your opinion because I want it. Tell me, what do you think? I'm already intrigued. You don't need to lay on the guilt, Envoy. I'm so glad that one of Sapadal's chosen stands with you, Yatsli. Our time is at an end, Yatsli. It's time for me to go. Wait! I've not even asked you any questions! Tell me about your marriage rites. Oh, did you mean for all your buildings to look so phallic? Unfortunately, my time is at an end. You must keep Yatsli alive. She is the last hope of the Akita. So this is goodbye. I wish we could have... No. I wish that all of you had a better ending. Choose well, Yatsli. And good luck. She's gone. Forgive me, Envoy, but we should get going. We can talk back in camp. Later.
Absolutely not. Just a nice star. Little power goes a long way. Charge it up. This place seems less like a death trap. Maybe we could stop, catch our breath.
There's always a weird sort of quiet on the eve of battle. I'm feeling that now. Seems like a good time to gather our thoughts and share a drink before whatever's coming.
Right. This seems like a perfect place to stop and relax.
Though it's hard enough to tell what's real here without a belly full of drink.
Sounds like you're nervous, dearie.
I'm feeling all kinds of ways. Anxious, excited, scared, hungry.
I feel it as well. It is only mortal to feel overwhelmed in the presence of the immortal.
Oh, you don't have to worry about me. Getting to see that vision of Tama did me good. Like, I finally let go of something I'd been holding too long. Now that we're here, I'm eager to see this through. Nothing worse than holding your breath and waiting. Same. I'd rather have good company in a prison than paradise alone.
Had a feeling you might ask me that. I'm not sure I've really worked through what I've seen here, but I am grateful for the chance to see Yonku again. I feel like we're almost done with all of this, but we are in the weirdest place in the world, so who knows? I'm completely baffled, but when haven't I been lately? Being afraid doesn't even feel scary anymore.
I think so. The garden is so much more than I expected. Full of contradictions. Wild, yet serene. Truthfully, I didn't come all this way searching for my own answers. But I found them. Or perhaps they found me. And now, it's like there's a new path laid out before me. A life after the dream scourge. We're close to something. A threshold between calm and crisis. Conflict and peace. Life and death. So am I. None of us could have gotten this far on our own.
Well, I won't lie to you, Envoy. A lot's happened. It's not every day that you learn that you're the last hope to carry on a legacy, but... well, here we are. Never literally talked to myself before either. I think I annoyed her. Me? Oh, I think I need another drink. But here we are. I just need a moment to take it all in. Thank you, dearie. I'll be ready by the time the fun starts. And I wouldn't worry. Our little group here is perfectly frightening, and I'm sure our enemies would agree. We'll be fine. I can't speak for anyone else, though.
You've listened to all of us. How about you? You've been through a lot since you arrived. You've been shipwrecked and assassinated, harangued by gods, bureaucrats, and a death guard. You've had your soul poked, your loyalties questioned, and your sleep regularly interrupted by a god with no respect for privacy. And yet you've kept yourself and all of us together. How are you really doing?
Under the circumstances, that's entirely reasonable.
Join the club.
I'd been more concerned if you weren't scared. Did you think we'd judge you for that? We try, darling. We try.
None of us thought this would be easy. For you, most of all. We've survived our own hardships. Now we'll survive yours.
When we first met, I didn't think you'd last long. But then I saw how you handled that dream thrall there. Shook off your own death like a bad cold. And then you confronted your own killer and let him go. Takes a special kind of strength to stay your hand in a moment like that.
I didn't know much about you at that point. You were traveling with Kai and you died, which I thought made a lot of sense.
I remember your calm. How you listened to my shouting match with the governor and actually heard me. And when they burned my home, you gave me another one. A sanctuary where I could be myself. I'll never forget that.
You were my hero right away. You rescued me from those sporelings. You got my priceless vase. What more could a girl ask for?
And now look at you. Look at us. How far we've come in a short time. Quite a lot, as it turns out. But the journey is worth it.
Not to raise the sails before the anchor, but we left trouble in our wake. Fjord, Thirdborn, Solace. If we make it out of here, it won't be to a living lands suddenly at peace.
Just this once, could we forget about the rest of the living lands? Some of us could use a break.
If we can't take a moment to ourselves on a floating island outside reality, then I don't know where we can.
Don't think I haven't considered it. But our problems won't just go away on their own.
Stay here? I mean, we are here. It's supposed to be paradise. Can't be worse than Galawain's tusks.
Tempting as it sounds, if there's one thing I've learned from you, it's that running from problems only lets them fester.
Unfortunately, you are uniquely qualified to deal with this, so we're stuck fixing things. Dread.
Sleep well. Tomorrow we finish this together.
Oh, Envoy. Have you recovered yet from our chat in the library? I don't think I have yet, but maybe talking it out will help. Well, it's worth a try. It's just... we already have a lot to take care of, don't we? We have a god and an empire both vying for our attention, and now I have this legacy forced on me. I was already unsure what to do, and now a third option appears like the world's worst surprise. But it makes sense. My whole life has been about the godless in one way or another. It explains why I knew the language, why I felt so drawn to the ruins. It's not an answer I would have expected, but it's an answer. And now that I know, I kind of thought, well, honestly, I feel more full. Like a puzzle piece sliding right back into place. No matter what happens, even if my path doesn't lead to the library, I feel better than I have in ages. So am I. I think... for the first time in my life, I don't know what to do.
Congratulations, Yardsley. Now you're just like the rest of us.
No matter what, I've always known exactly what I want. But this is the first time I've had more options than time in the day. What do you think? I ask because I want your advice, Envoy. Please. What do you think? You're right. The Akira have been with me my whole life, in one way or another. I owe it to them and myself to see it through to the end. Thank you, Envoy. I've been agonizing over this for longer than I want to admit. Finally picking a destination makes the journey a lot easier. Oh, but I am not looking forward to telling Quilici.
He'll understand. Your happiness and fulfillment are everything to him.
Well, come on. We've bigger things to deal with. Literally, in Sapadal's case. Much as I'm loath to relinquish the spotlight, we should be off. And Envoy, thank you, truly. Now, let's go.
Kai, does the word Nemnok mean anything to you? Interesting.
Safe to assume that the large glowing door is part of Sapadal's prison? Now, we'll just have to get past it.
Sapadal's prison, I think. What else could it be? Time to shut it down forever.
We've got company! It looked easy when you...
Lava will be your sick! Seek! Mess me too!
Just a little spark. Power goes a long way.
Whack 10! Worse than none! Loud be your seat! Whack 10! Mess me too! Whack 10!
Not bad for a scholar.
Seems like we've drawn a crowd.
So, this is how you imprison a god.
after so long. You are so small. We questioned if you were real. Then steps. A voice. Through armies and corrupted soil, you persevered. Now, you are here. The rot. We feel it festering and spreading. What is it but an extension of our pain? Your dream scourge will end when our suffering does. We were innocent once. We woke, and we wanted nothing but connection. But the other gods imprisoned us, left us to suffer alone in this place. But you are here now. You found us, a sprout in the endless winter. There is little time. We would be freed from these bonds. The Strangler is close now. We feel her wire against our flesh. She begs for our blood. Her wolves defile the city on the shore. Blood on the tile. The people's cries ring in our ears. She pierces us now. Now we will not brook this. Not again. A spark. Wait. The essence bends here. Time flows into itself. You can reach her. Will the garden to open. It will take you there. A wellspring of power. We strain, but we could clear the way. We were everything. What have we lost? What multitudes could we contain? We could run, leap in the water, flourish in forgotten hills. We want nothing more than that. We mourn our past. We only seek peace now. A chance to regrow. We trust you. You who have been by our side for so long. You met death, and you offered your hand. And where is your mercy for us? You know we deserve better than this. Give us peace. We want a chance to change. We deserve that opportunity. Do you think we have learned nothing from you? We deserve more than this prison. Let us have a chance to rest. We want peace. Or do you have no more mercy for us than you did for the bear? The beautiful thing you killed, already you have forgotten. We asked what you would do with an animal that sickened after a fight. Do you remember what you said? More than anything, that is what we desire too. Treat us as you would the bear. Clean our wounds, heal us. Grant us the same. The time has come for you to act. End our pain, and the dream scourge will cease. Give us peace. It is all we have wanted for so long. Center your thoughts. Reach for us. Clear the fog. Tear down the gates. We were so blind, so lost. We brought such horrors to this place. We feel bright. We had forgotten what it is to live. We will grow. Tend, flower. We will always remember this. We will remember you when you are ash and soil and mulch.
Dangerous depths. Are we back in Dawnshore? Already?
This is Sapadal's doing. I'm certain of it. No power in Eora could transport us so quickly, or so far. We'll have time for that later. Assuming there is a later.
Are you seeing this? I don't think Paradise looked like this when we left it.
Looks like the war already started, and the giant roots are winning.
Marius, vines don't usually get that big this quickly, do they?
Based on their growth and size, I'd say we've been gone 2 or 3 weeks.
For once, I wish I wasn't. Who knows if the garden affected time, or merely our perception of time? Assuming there's even a difference.
It's like how a body fights an infection. The fever gives you strange dreams that feel like an eternity.
Look at this place. Feels like we're still in the dream. And not just us. Those are more your people's ships in the harbor, and steel garrote banners past the barricades. That can't be good.
Even Raingrim is here. Perhaps we'll get to see an Archmage in action.
I think I see Elia as well. What a strange reunion this will be.
The Blessed Day Wardens are here too. That conflict we've been trying so hard to prevent started without us.
If he didn't start this himself.
The Steel Garrote have been itching for a fight this whole time. This would have happened with or without us.
Before we go, what happened back there with the Dream Scourge and Sapadal?
I'm not sure. That's good, right?
It's a relief that the Dream Scourge won't be a problem. I only hope we can say the same about Sapadal. Time will tell, I suppose.
After all this time, they're free. And the living land is free to heal.
We've cured the land, and we've even freed a caged god. All in all, rather a successful day.
You've saved the soul of the living lands. Now the survivors fight over its bones. We should take a look. See if we can get ahead of whatever storm is brewing down there.
People seem to be gathering west of here. Whatever's happening, let's be a part of it.
Sansa, how did you make it out here?
Guy! They marched in with no warning. I couldn't think. I just ran.
Easy. You're here now. Where did they come from?
Snow? Why is there snow here?
That's gotta be Ringgrim's work. I heard she made it snow.
A familiar face.
Envoy! What does the Garrote think they're doing? What's the point of exploring if you just want to plant your flag everywhere? They broke some glass, but the map is safe. They didn't think I was worth the trouble.
Right now, that's a good thing.
If you're looking for survivors, a few of us fled to the Balrog.
How many?
I'm not sure. I saw Sapiento. Gods, I hope they're not trapped in there. I am sorry I can't be more help. You always were a forgiving friend.
We should move. Let's hope the Garrote hasn't made it to the Balrog yet.
Envoy, wait! Before you go, I may have something for you. I took some supplies when I ran. If you think they'll help, they're yours. I'll even give you a discount. You know, for saving the city and everything.
We meet again, Envoy. And you, Yardsley. You're always a prodigious and welcome sight.
Oh, Yes, always a pleasure to see you, too.
Paradise burns, thanks to Ludwine and the Steel Garrote laying siege to it. But the Dream Scourge is gone. I bear witness. Heroes and villains will arise from this moment in mortal history. I find such occasions irresistible.
How many have written their names in history before your very eyes?
So very many. Too many to discuss right now. But we'll talk about them someday, I promise. Still, I do think the world has been irrevocably, if minimally, changed by your actions. Envoy, please. You know there's no point lying to me. I'm here because I'm curious about what you'll do in this moment. Perhaps. A new god being set loose on the world is certain to have consequences. Mostly, I'm curious about whether you think you've made the right choice. Wise answer, that. I am interested in seeing the outcome of your story, Envoy. With luck, it won't end with you also on fire. Unfortunately, you'll likely be dead the next time I return to the Living Lands. Goodbye, Envoy. And Yardsley, I do look forward to when all of this is done. I am eager to work with you.
Oh, yes. We'll, discuss that later.
We'll be lucky to make it out of here alive.
Across the Living Lands.
Giata, where have you been?
Where haven't I been? I journeyed to the heart of the Living Lands, where time held its breath, and dreams had
We know you. Did you help us? We must have seen you in a dream.
Oh, Envoy. How good to see you here as we stand together at the brink of this historic event. I don't know if thank you is precisely what I want to say, but I am grateful to you for bringing Dolna's theft to light. Paradise burns from the torches of the Steel Garrote. The people of the Living Lands stand ready to defend their home. Yes. What happens in Paradise now will decide the fate of the Pargrunen after all.
What's the plan if Paradise falls?
We will find a way to persevere. We Pargrunen have a gift for surviving inhospitable conditions, and always have. Whatever the outcome of the upcoming battle, do not forget us. I fear that more than our deaths. If Adir and the Steel Garrote have their way, they'll strip the history books of any mention of our culture and our ways. Future generations will only ever know us as an appendage of the Empire. I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope so, Envoy. I truly do. That's as much as I'll say. You have a role in deciding what happens next. Do the right thing, Envoy. Let history remember you for the correct reasons.
Envoy,
I knew you'd show up eventually.
It's good to see a familiar face. How are you?
My revenants were just getting comfortable in Thirdborn when the Steel Garrote stepped out of line. When I heard tensions were brewing, I thought to myself, this is a job for the undead. So I gathered the flock. Not to worry. I can always bring them back to fight another day. I'll keep them on a tight leash, just in case the Steel Garrote breach our defenses. Better to have them and not need them. Oh, and I've been meaning to thank you. Whatever you did in the garden seems to have worked. My revenants are docile again. No more rude displays of aggression. I couldn't be more proud. Easier said than done, I suppose. Best of luck out there. And don't worry about a thing. My flock will keep us safe and secure.
Thank you, Alia. My compliments to the flock, as always.
Enjoy the time with your flock, dearie. Try to keep them out of the other camps.
Do you think it's over?
We see clearly now. The clouds part and the sun shines. Was this you? How's Casagrada?
As prepared as he'll ever be.
Who knows? Maybe all this will make a hero out of him.
Gods, we don't need a lot of bodies. We need everyone. Come back alive.
I'll do that.
If you're wounded, find a place to lie down. Someone will get to you before you bleed out. If I seem distracted, I apologize. I'm tending to the fallen, as you can see. Believe it or not, we have more than enough supplies. The Clavager knew this day might come. Unfortunately, my hands are full with the dying and the dead, and there's too many of both. If I don't get any sleep, I might be the next casualty. I suppose I've earned a couple of winks. You look like you could use a few. The next time we see each other, I just hope the fighting's done.
Relaxation helps to clear the mind. Nothing else comes close.
Do not allow your differences to blind you to the real. When we strike as Pargrunen, we strike as one.
The Envoy. Is that you? Envoy, how did you... I don't know.
It's great to see you again, but... where the fuck did you come from?
You just appeared out of nowhere.
Close enough.
Once word about Paradis reached us, we were allowed to go.
That's not important right now, Radut.
Right. Forgive me, Envoy. I won't keep you long. I just want to make one request while you're here. As much as you can, be good to the Living Lands.
Don't let Adir fuck us over, is what he means.
More or less. I'd just like for us to live lives that are free, for us, not Adir to determine our fates. It's going to be up to you, Envoy. I know you have much to do, so I'll just leave you with that. Thank you.
As soon as my gun's cleaned, I'll get out there.
I don't want to go to Yezwa. Sure will miss that oasis, though.
So, here we are. The first and last battle for the living lands. Try praying instead of just hoping. That might work better for you. Metaphysically, the battle is already over. Sapadal is free, and the Dream Scourge is gone. But politically, we have a small mess to tidy up. I intend to send a message to the Steel Garrote, and it won't be subtle. Anyway, who knows what tomorrow will bring, so let's be grateful for today. You've earned a little peace of mind. Good advice, but I'd rather stay worried. It'll keep me on my toes. Besides, I need to tinker on the phantasmal focus. Make sure it's ready for war. Don't stay up too late. Thanks for talking. We should take a moment to acknowledge what happened back there. You liberated the god of the living lands. Now they are unchained, free to do whatever they want. That's quite a gamble you made. I admire your confidence. If not for you, Sapadal would still be pacing their cage like a wild animal. Which means you have leverage over a god. How do you plan on using it? No time like the present. Sapadal's imprisonment shaped this island. Now that everything's changed, I'm curious what will happen. We cannot know if the living lands will normalize or destabilize as a result of our actions. Eventually. Maybe you'll find some comfort in prayer, now that one of the gods is listening. I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. The subject matter is a bit much for our little camp. We're not finished yet. For that, I'm grateful. I want you to know this has been an unforgettable experience. Wherever we go from here, I'm grateful to have been a part of it. Until next time. Pleasant dreams.
There you are, Envoy. You ready for this? You're probably right. I guess it helps we have a god on our side, right? I mean, a god beats a skeleton knight any day. This is just cleanup. Just figuring out who controls the living lands from here out. You said it, not me. Anyway, you should get some rest. Oh, if you need to rehearse any speeches or whatever, make sure you do it in front of someone else. Talk to you later, Envoy.
They really were rude to you at the keep, weren't they?
I left Solace. I didn't expect him to throw me a blessed day party.
Envoy? Is it really you?
Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
What did you see there? The god you felt in Nakutadek?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak.
It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened?
Sapadal was responsible for the Dream Scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
But the plague isn't over. Dream Thralls still litter Shatterscarp.
There won't be any new infections. We've put a stop to that for good. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the Dream Scourge. We can give them comfort, nothing more. This will be a process. The Dream Scourge was never going to simply go away overnight.
I suppose it stands to reason. I found that a quick fix is often anything but. What of this god, then? What does it mean that you freed them? Ludwine had intimated that this land grew a new god. But how can that be?
Giata and I have some theories about the nature of the Adra in the Living Lands.
I'd say we're past the point of theorizing.
If the Adra here is a closed system, like a terrarium for our souls, then a gradual accumulation of essence could coalesce into a being in the beyond.
Much like the formation of gemstones. All it takes is time and the right application of pressure.
Wodka no doubt saw Sapadal as a threat to her authority. So, she killed the godless and imprisoned their god.
I assume it is this god we have to thank for the roots tearing apart Paradise? They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower.
Nakutadek was raven with those things, not to mention what they did to the land.
We saw similar destruction at Nakuku Bell. If these roots and the Dream Scourge are the work of a god, and the gods thought it best to imprison this god, how could you let such a creature go free?
For now. Who's to say they don't get their feathers in a ruff again and wipe us all out with a tsunami?
It was Adir's arrival that disturbed Sapadal. We'll have nothing to fear from this god once we expel you from our lands.
Sapadal's power ravaged my people. I don't know that I can ever trust it.
Keeping watch over Sapadal was a sacred task Nandru gave us when he left. For that reason alone, my wardens owe them their allegiance.
Well, whatever happens, I suppose we can't put the godling back in the bottle now.
But come, we have more pressing matters to attend to. The Steel Garrote have attacked Paradise. Inquisitor Ludwine has already joined the battle. She must have traveled like the wind to get here so fast. Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwine who called for the attack.
I didn't hear an answer, Ambassador.
She and her Steel Garrote laid siege to the city shortly after you beat her to the garden.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking, just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwine's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves. Regrettably, she's not in the business of making exceptions for people she deems Oathbreaker. So long as her passion for Wodika lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible.
I couldn't agree more.
Ludwig has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwig, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here. Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake.
We deserve our autonomy, even if we must fight for it. Anything less would be surrender.
Fleeing someone else's laws and authority is one thing, setting up your own is another. We're an island of misfits and dissidents. We'll still have to surrender some of our autonomy, and we won't agree on what that means overnight. We'll be vulnerable. Without allies, other powers will see us as ripe for the picking. Know that this is a hard road to walk.
We were fine before Adir came. We'll be fine when they're gone.
I think we ran things perfectly fine before your kin got here.
Risk into bounty. Does the winter frost dissuade the seeds? Many fruits on our boughs. We graft many leaves into strength.
Of course. The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers. The Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adir's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attempt to invade, we would come to the Grave Room's aid.
Tribute, he says. Taxes. Soldiers. The Empire has tried it all before. Look to the Eastern Reach if you don't believe me. They want to bleed us dry, to fill their coffers and fight their wars, to break us like wild animals. But I will not bend.
It's still a gamble, but I think it's the safest bet. We'd get the benefits of Imperial trade and protection without losing all of what makes this place special. There's no way of knowing what it would mean in another generation or two. But right now, it gives us the security and stability to recover.
We were fine before Adir showed up, and we'll be fine when they're gone. Trust the lands and her people, Envoy.
If we give Adir power over us, we can't be surprised if they decide to flex it later.
Naturally, that would be the Emperor's decision. But I suspect he would choose you. Only the strong survive the frontier. I used to believe that was Ludwig. But you were born to rule here. Quite literally. Have some faith in yourself, Envoy. You'd grow into the role in time.
We give up our fighters and the wealth of our lands, and get promises in return. But we have wealth enough to give some away, if it means my wardens may return to their vigil in peace.
A grave rum could work, so long as trade keeps moving through the Scarp and you're willing to serve as our go-between envoy. And we'll have cannons enough to deter the adherents from trying anything stupid.
When the Empire demands its tribute, from where will it come? Emerald Stair is not the breadbasket it was, and the dream of Eora is now deferred. If we accept this deal, I fear we are building a trap certain to catch our own legs.
Of course. The Living Lands would become an extension of the Adirian Empire in leadership and law. Soldiers bearing the flag of Adir would be garrisoned in every town. They would be paid in Adirian shelling and speak only the Adirian language. Their roads would be smooth Adirian roads. Their medicine would be hygienic Adirian medicine. And their weapons would be efficient Adirian weapons. Our customs would become their customs. Our strengths would become their strengths. Our emperor would become their emperor. Turned toward a common purpose. No one, not Rawatai, not the Valian republics, not even a rogue god, would dare tack the Living Lands. This island would be safe for the first time in its history, and safe it would remain. Well, let's not twiddle our thumbs while Paradise burns. Envoy, be reasonable. This is not a good idea. Give these people an ounce of agency, and there's no telling what they'll do. Wodika, have mercy on my soul. Well, what will the illustrious leaders of the Living Lands decide?
So this is what I want. I would prefer we keep to ourselves as we have, but if it will take all of us to repel your people, a united Living Lands it is.
The Living Lands is going to need trade partners if we're gonna make it out here. I support a grave rum.
I must throw in with Thirdborn, who opened their doors to us in our time of need. It will be a grave rum for the people of Eora.
Well, it's hardly unanimous, but the majority shall rule. A grave room it shall be, then.
I do not trust your empire to show restraint in its control of the Living Lands. Gods help us.
We can worry about the future when it comes. This at least gives us the backing to survive and rebuild.
Right. Might as well go ahead and start designing those rebel flags sooner rather than later.
Good. We'll have perhaps a whole week of peace before the yoke starts chafing.
I will do my level best to convince the Emperor to accept a grave room. That leaves the matter of Ludwig and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradise, and eventually the island.
Whatever happens to the Living Lands, at least I can kill Ludwig. I'll take that over nothing.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradise militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
Thank you for deserving it. Now,
Go and teach the Steel Garrote a lesson they will never forget.
Show them that the living lands will not be broken across Vodka's knee.
We will send reinforcements to help you reclaim the Eastern Gate. From there, work your way to the main plaza. May all the gods of Eora and the living lands protect you.
Let's take back the city. Whatever happens tomorrow, the Steel Garrote can only make it worse.
Let's go free a city, shall we?
You should get some sleep. Big day coming up. Well, I'm just fine. More or less. I've been in a lot of dangerous situations, but it's always been a fight to survive. It's just a fight. Putting my life on the line for someone else's cause. It's the opposite of survival. It's foolishness. You know, I've never seen a bear go to war. They fight for survival, not for causes. We're about to go out there and risk our lives for, what? A concept of how things ought to be? We might die, all to determine who sleeps in the nicest house in Paradise until the island decides it's time for a change. It's fine, really. But it's some blessed day Sokka when you think about it. Right. Careful you don't get stuck in all that sap. I'll be all right, Envoy. You go get some blessed day rest.
Can't sleep? Neither can I. We're going into battle for the soul of the living lands, rallying under the banners of the Paradise Militia. Your Emperor will not be pleased. Political influence is dangerous. If you aren't careful, it can turn against you. When a godlike fights in battle, people take note of which side. The Adherents will doubt your loyalty. The locals will doubt your commitment. You may even doubt yourself. This is the first time you were told to pick a side. And I fear it won't be the last. Only a little bit. Just enough to keep me up at night. From what I understand, your ambassador is very persuasive, very powerful, and very accustomed to getting his way. For a politician like him, losing a battle is not a defeat. It's an opportunity. When he promises you the world, don't listen. He'll fill your head with lies if you let him. I'm glad we understand each other. It's good to see you fighting for the misfits and rabble-rousers. Time for you to get some rest. We have a big day ahead of us. Pleasant dreams. I can't wait to give the Steel Garrote a...
Let the worst come. I am ready. Time to die.
Let's finish it. Lava, fiancé. Hey, stop right there.
Don't worry about the eastern gate. I'll protect your back.
Yatsli, well done.
What are you doing here? Stop right there. Protect the envoy. Here.
Get off me!
Worse than rock! Worse than rock! Lava will be your sick! I thought you left town weeks ago.
You can tell me when we make it out of this. I saw a few on my way here. I imagine they've been waiting for this to happen for a long time. Listen, one of the Garot's units is scouting up ahead, maybe 5 strong. I wouldn't want to fight them if I were you. Take this key. It'll unlock the gate to the canals. You can thank the captain who forgot it. You shouldn't find much opposition down there. I wish someone had stood up to the Steel Garot a long time ago. But, well, you're here now. That's what matters. Good luck.
We should go now, while the fighting's died down.
Can you not hear the screaming outside?
She's right. We can't go now. Then when? Should we wait till the Garot set this bar alight?
They have thaumaturges out there. You saw them. I heard you. For the burned queen. Aha!
Be sick! Worse than rough! Worse than rough! Be sick! Worse than rough!
Over here.
What exactly do you think you're doing? You nearly died in my clinic. Correction, you did die. And now look at you, fighting the Steel Garot. What have you got to say for yourself? I bet you're sorry. We're patching up folks as best we can, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. War is a damn bloody mess. Yeah, stop the fighting. I can't say I approve of you leaping into the fray, but it's always nice catching up with a former patient. Wait a second. Jada? Jada Castell? What are you doing in the middle of this?
Surviving. It's good to see you, Liviana. Unfortunately, we're on a tight schedule. Do you need anything? Money, supplies?
Once this is over, I could always use another pair of hands at the clinic. The invitation's still open.
Thank you, but I've decided to tough it out as an animancer. On my own terms. Can you manage without me?
Are you kidding? I'm happy for you. Besides, I've got Chico on bandage duty. I just wanted you to know there's a place here whenever you want it. Gods be with you, Envoy. For my sake, try not to die a second time.
Come on. You know this. You practiced with Uncle Papo 100 times. Tight, but not too tight. You don't want to cut off the blood flow. Liviana believes in me. I can't afford to let her down.
seek! I am worse than rot! Worse than rot! Be seek!
That it?
Mordecai demands your submission. Stand against her and fall.
Let's pay Ludwig one final visit, shall we? Let's make sure she stays dead this time. All right, dearie?
There you are. Envoy. So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time? Our conflict was foretold the moment you were born. You can no more avoid it than I can die. Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through compromise. He failed. Order is meant to be imposed by a stern, guiding hand.
Her order wields sharp steel. She must set down her blade.
Heelguard is a fool if he thinks half measures will save the island. When this is over, I'll instruct him, personally.
I won't weep for Heelguard.
As for you, Sabadal's chains are broken, which means your soul is in their grasp. I don't know how deeply you've been compromised, Envoy. And if I don't know, then I cannot suffer you to live. Do not patronize me. I have every right to put down a threat to the Empire. Steel yourself, Envoy. Make this a fight to remember, even in death.
We would not welcome her death. There is still ample shade for her beneath our tree.
All this time, I knew you'd be worthy prey. Don't let me down. Farewell, Envoy.
There's no coming back this time. Prepare yourself for the next world.
You won't be missed, Ludwig.
Once I'm done killing you, your god of the
We are endless seed in the soil. We will always grow.
Come on! One last time! It's worse than rot! Seek! Worse than rot! young queen! Send me your aid!
Boudica is done with you.
Worse than wrong! Again! Won't help me! One last time! Grow up!
Wherever Ludwine is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done. But we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Gods, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Unraveled at last. We no longer feel her wire against our flesh. We are free always. We are free forever.
Silence falls over Paradise, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. You feel Sapadal close to your thoughts, stirring with interest. The god of the living lands is observing this moment, unfettered by confusion or fear. For the first time in centuries, they understand. The Paradise militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The Dream Scourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the plague came from a power beyond mortal understanding, and how it is finally at peace. With your guidance, the Living Lands becomes a vassal of the Adiran Empire. In exchange for their taxes and soldiers, the free settlements are protected from future attacks. The fight for survival is over. You showed the rebels of Paradise mercy, but they can never trust the Empire. Instead, they keep to the wilderness, always 2 steps ahead of Adir, only attacking when provoked. That is as close as they come to peace. The refugees of Emerald Stair resettle in Thirdborn, bringing their skills and research to aid the local community. What starts as an uneasy partnership blossoms into a bond of trust. Through shared adversity, they find common ground. The ashes of Fior Messiverno continue to smolder. Scavengers avoid the ruins, fearful of spirits unleashed by animancy gone awry. The once promising city is nothing but a cautionary tale. Though Adir has promised that the Living Lands will retain their autonomy, not everyone in Shatterscarp trusts the Empire. But many Adiran ships sail into the Grave Room's ports, bearing fine linens and aged wines. These ease the painful memory of the day Reengrim culled their people. After the Living Lands is declared a vassal of Adir, Solace Keep reluctantly opens the doors of its fortress, though not before numerous missives are sent to Mihala demanding the Grave Room be honored. Her reluctance costs the dwarves. The Pargrunen are never favored in trade negotiations, and are the last to be supplied by Adiran caravans. But the Wardens have rounder bellies than anyone can remember. For the first time in many years, Kai feels an agreeable restlessness. Not to flee, not to drift, but to venture. He visits the distant shores Tama told him about, and savors the modern marvels, ancient wonders, and breathtaking expanses he beholds. His heart swells, not with grief, but with awe. There is so much to discover, and he will spend his years chasing all of the joy and beauty the world has to offer him. With many of his anxieties and lifelong fears addressed, Marius now feels very differently than he did when he first met the envoy. Still far more comfortable in the wilds than among people, he nonetheless finds that his worries about the unknown were merely self-protection against the traumas of his childhood. Armed with this knowledge, he finds himself more capable of living in civilization, and far less fearful of his home in Galawain's tusks. While he never regains his former place as a Warden of Solace, he spends his time traveling between Solace and Thirdborn, acting as a stubborn ambassador between the two. Giada continues to improve as an animancer. She dedicates her work to the spiritual health of the Living Lands, nurturing instead of exploiting. Others follow her example, seeking her tutelage from lands far and wide. In the years to come, rumors spread of a secret society gathering in the wilderness, where animancers work in harmony with nature. The dream of Fior Mes Iverno lives on in her. In a past life, Yahtzee was given a task: protect the history and knowledge of the godless. Now, many lifetimes later, she continues upholding that oath. She moves into the library in the garden, spending her days poring over the clay tablets there. But not even the letters from, and rare visit to, her lover help ease the loneliness that fills her days. Freed from torment for the first time in centuries, Soppadal turns their prodigious curiosity to the people that shaped them. They observe the ways their people live, and they think deeply about what they see. Though they flinch away from moments of violence, and they grieve souls returned to them too soon, the rage that once shook cities to rubble no longer rules them. Instead, they come to you with questions. They want to understand. After a time, they begin tentatively to garden. Where they can, they improve the lives of Kith, and the suffering that troubled them is reduced, if never fully eradicated. Their grief compels them to love, and they love unreservedly, with the power of a god. Soppadal has questions about what happens tomorrow, and the day after. You do your best to keep them calm, until the voice in your head is little more than a polite whisper. After everything you've been through, you don't mind the company. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.